where to start. Um, man, so basically, on September 11th, 2001, I was pretty much 6 years old. When this tragic event happened, I don't really remember where I was at the time, but I think think I was might have been in school or something. I don't think I understood what really happened since I was 6 years old. You know how kids are when they're young; they don't understand history and stuff like that. But as I grew older, I found out that we suffered one of the worst terrorist attacks in history. That was actually coordinated suicide terrorist attacks that were carried out by Al Qaeda against us, the United States. So basically, the morning, 19 terrorists hijacked four airlines that were scheduled to travel from a New England and mid-Atlantic regions of the East Coast to California. The hijackers crashed the first two planes into the World Trade Center, so the north and the south, and then the next two flights were towards Washington, D.C. A third plane crashed into the Pentagon, which was the headquarters in Arlington County, Virginia, where a fourth plane, it was said to be crashed into probably the White House, but thankfully it only crashed into a field after a passenger revolts. Uh, the attacks killed nearly over 3,000 people, injuring thousands. Um, I just can't imagine what the scene looked like after the devastation, after the aftermath and stuff like that. The sounds of the police cars and fire trucks arriving on the scenes, innocent people crying and yelling and trying to find their loved ones. And it was horrible. People diving for shelter. It turns out that I actually had a family friend who was working on top of the South Tower when the plane hit, so he lost his life. He was a family friend. And here we are, 22 years later on this day. We remember and honor those people who died during the horrible event. The fighter fighters that, risked their lives to save those people that were trapped in the North and South Towers, and the people. There were people stuck in the rubble after the aftermath. The passengers on the commercial flight that retaliated in an attempt to take control of the aircraft, forcing hijackers to crash. My thoughts and prayers go out to those families that have lost someone in this tragedy or lost a loved one. Never forget. I would like to take a moment of silence for those who have lost their lives 22 years ago. Never forget.
Died here in New York, at the Pentagon in Washington, and near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. The commemoration ceremony in Lower Manhattan is getting underway at this hour. The names of the fallen being read aloud, along with moments of silence to mark the times each tower was struck here in New York City. NBC's Rahema Ellis is there for us in Lower Manhattan, hallowed ground this morning. Rahema, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah. Thousands are gathering here at what's been known as Ground Zero to remember those lives lost just 22 years ago on September 11th. Behind me, you can see One World Trade Tower. This is where it sits in the footprint of what was the Twin Towers. And people will never forget, they say, what happened that day. And now they are here to remember it. Dignitaries included in the events, the mayor, the governor, including the former mayor, Rudy Giuliani, who became known as America's mayor as a result of it. And you will hear all of those